this stuff you would think would be just scripted at this point, um, except for the ums. I have not rehearsed this video. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video because I want to get the maximum viewership on this. Just because I think this is something that needs to be squashed. And I'm not just talking about with me. Now, I've been on an app for the last 4 months. And this app allows you to go on different servers. And on one server, I was on there for several months without incident. You're talking to different people. You're having a good old time. It's a mostly male server. And, you know, whatever. So, today, about an hour or two ago, I get a message from one of the moderators who says that she has received reports of my messaging of female users and coming across as creepy. Now, I can count on one hand how many female users aside from her, that moderator, I've interacted with on that server. And I relay that number to her and she, you know, still won't specify who it is, what it is, gives me a warning. And this is, let me preface it again, this is an app this is a server on an app that I barely even use at this point, and actually only really use to talk to maybe 1 or 2 people. Now you're probably thinking, what, you know, nasty, disgusting stuff did I say, right? Well, with one user, and I made a video about that interaction with that user, where I was talking to them politically, and then they said, oh, this is something I only like to talk about with family members, you know, politics. I didn't know that was such a personal thing. So, whatever, I left them alone after that. This is late last month. That's about 2 weeks ago. Another person I interacted with yesterday after they spoke to me first in the voice chat part of this app. And they proceeded to message back with me yesterday. We spoke, I said something to them, they replied, I said, hello. And they say hi back, and I say, how are you? And that's it. That's, you know, they don't respond after that. The day before, the only thing I talked to them about was this whole ongoing struggle I'm having with, you know, the relationship thing or whatever. Because they got into that conversation and it was being dominated by the 2 other people that were in that voice chat. That's the only reason I messaged that person. Now, I'm bringing up and specifying these 2 interactions, and if I was able to log on to that thing right now, I could show you and read these messages. To simply say that I couldn't understand how talking to someone about politics, which I do with a lot of people, and talking to someone about romance, which I've done with a lot of people, are creepy and somehow invasive of their privacy. You know, I always interpreted invasions of privacy to be maybe, I don't know, what's your cup size? Are you a virgin? Those are things that I would think of as actually invading your privacy. Not, how come you support gun control? How come you don't feel this way about dating that I do? Like, I just don't understand that. And so when they come to me and tell me that, you know, these 2 users, they don't even say the number of users. They make it sound like there's a laundry list of people saying this when, I know how many of them I've spoken to on there. So, you know, that was already debunked. But they can't offer me any direct thing I said that was, you know, so gross and invasive and disturbing and, ugh. And I think to myself, you know, this morning I had the other female or whatever just, you know, say, I don't want to talk anymore. And I thought to my even further, and I said, you know, the people who cause me the most pain are the ones for which at some point I tried to interact with. And, you know, I hate being accused of being antisocial because I am the type of person who would approach somebody, which is what I did with both of those, admittedly, in private messages. but that still was on a platonic level. And I know that the interaction I had with the female that, broke it off this morning was attempting to be romantic, but even at this point was still platonic. So my bottom line here is that I don't need this. And it's not mandatory for me to talk to people of this nature that will get together or rally together to try and make me out to be some monster that I know I'm not. And I noticed the recurring pattern of it mainly being people that are, online or, just can go back to their regular life and be content with making a collaborative effort to just destroy the person on the other side of the computer. So I'm under the conviction now that at this point, I will no longer attempt to interact with anyone ever again on social media. Never start a conversation, never initiate a dialogue. If you say hello to me, I'll say something back, most likely. But aside from that, it's over. Platonic, romantic, all of it, because I can't even speak. There was a user on Twitter that was, she told me she was 47, yeah, late 40s, and we're talking about politics. And at some point she mentions that, I shouldn't be talking with another man. I think I told her in advance that, again, this is all political, and she's still, giving me this garbage about marital infidelity by speaking about contemporary current events. And I'm sitting on this other line, keep in mind, 20-year age gap. And you're telling me about, and she recants her, but it's just like, wow. Everybody just thinks you're flirting with them no matter what you say. I am astonished. I am amazed. And I'm reminded further of that pledge I made this morning. That, romantic approaching is over. And, they always talk about, oh, if you don't go after it, it won't come to you. Well, fine then. Because me going after it doesn't do anything when I go after it on a romantic level, as the case this morning. And on a platonic level, it's only gone for me successfully one time with a person I'm still talking to as of today. And keep in mind, that was way before any of these people on these social media apps that I've interacted with in recent years. And I know it's not just, people grow up and their interests change, because me and him still talk and are able to speak without the other one accusing the other person of being a pervert and assassinating the other person's character because I spoke to you about politics. So I hope everyone who watched this, if you speak to someone about politics under their logic, you are invasive and creepy. And also if you speak to them, again, under their logic about your romantic past, you don't ask them anything about theirs, you are invasive and creepy. My God. And it's like, if you talk about it, you're the villain. If you don't talk about it, you just let everybody run over you. You have no way of winning. The way I could have won was that you don't say anything to me after I apparently creep you out. Whatever, we go on about our days. I can live with that. I can walk away from failed relationships. It's not a problem. I've been through enough of these. What I have a problem with is when you go out of your way, approaching the admin saying, oh, he spoke about me. That's where the problem comes from. Because I've never gone out of my way to do that to anybody else. And I don't do that because I don't believe I should be responsible for the downfall of a person I don't know. They don't know me any better than a can of paint, but they'll go out of their way to do this. And, they'll go back to their regular lives. They both have talked about in the past when I spoke to them, the romances they had with males. And that's another thing. Males will take a woman based off of her appearance. I'm sure there, I saw one of them. She was all right looking. They'll take a woman off of their physical appearance, and they will tolerate all this mouth and all of this, verbiage, not because of how attractive the woman is, but because they think they are so unattractive as to not have a chance with anyone that looks better than that. And I've seen it personally, and I'm sure that's the case with both of these two, just from the way they just did me right now. And you can do better, man. You can do better. And it's even more frustrating when you know that not all women are this way, and that it keeps happening with the opposite sex. But it's irritating because I'm not approaching them romantically. How is talking to someone politically and relating an experience romantic? That's stupid. Whatever, I'm done with all of it. All these interactions. It is over. I'm through.